Here we go!
My friends, it just keeps happening. Perfect Dark's oldest remaining world record has been beaten. The final speedrun record set in the 2000s in either Perfect Dark or GoldenEye 007 is now gone, evaporated, relegated to the history books. Indeed, Extraction Agent 48 Seconds was originally set by True Faith all the way back on March 23, 2009, over 4,600 days ago, and now it is no longer the world record. But how did it all happen? Who performed the legendary record-breaking run, and what does this mean for the world of Perfect Dark speedrunning? Well, my friends, that's why you're here. It's the story of Extraction Agent 47.
Can't leave any bodyguards standing.
Extraction Agent, the third stage in Rare's remarkable game Perfect Dark. A mission in which you must escape what's called the Lucerne Tower after having retrieved your friend Dr. Carroll on the previous mission. There are really 5 distinct moments or segments to an Extraction Agent speedrun. Navigate the blacked out basement while wearing night vision goggles to this lift. Take this lift upwards, which has a fixed timing and cannot be sped up as far as we know. Navigate this floor, grabbing a rocket launcher and climbing the stairs. Then at this moment, we're met with something interesting, a sort of mini cutscene in which the game timer is stopped until you're presented with Cassandra's bodyguards, whom you must eliminate in objective on the stage, and from there you run to the end. The early history of Extraction Agent sees the time fall towards 49 seconds pretty early on, in the first 5 years or so of the game's history, just by virtue of decent, competent speedrun movement and gameplay. 49 would become an iconic record in a fairly quiet period in the game's history, set by Big Boss Man in 2005 and tied by only fellow legends Perfect Ace in 2007 and True Faith in 2009. But when True Faith got that 49 in March 2009, despite it being a pretty uncommon record, he saw lower was possible. And after a few weeks of grinding, he did just that. Extraction 48 was set by virtue of no new strategy, rather simply more optimal lines and turns throughout the run, and a particularly more aggressive bodyguards area pushing through with the rocket shot. And there, at 48 seconds, stood the record for 12 years. Over that time, 12 more players would match True Faith's 48, and it's important to look at some of those 12 runs to appreciate the incredible records that are to come. The one point on the stage in particular that's best to get a gauge of the pace of any given run is upon entering this door. The in-game timer briefly freezes, presenting you with a sort of mini cutscene where Cassandra shows the bodyguards whom you must eliminate for Objective 1. Now this point is interesting because you can almost always see the timer in the bottom left and see exactly what pace you're on in your speedrun. Now some of the earliest Extraction 48s, however, have videos which are too low quality to really see an exact decimal, which is understandable and appropriate for the time they were set. However, on the more recent 48s, we can see that most of these runs had a timer freeze in the mid to low 38-second range, like 38.10 on Lake Demon's 48, or 38.15 on the Rixer's 48. The Rixer's 48 in particular is interesting because he has an end time of 48.65, which was one of the better 48s when it was set in 2019. This is because he had one of the better ending 10 seconds, really moving smoothly through the bodyguard area and up the final ramp with very tight turns. This also seems to imply that if you had this exact same ending, but had a timer freeze about 0.7 seconds earlier, so 37.45, then you might be able to get the long-fabled Extraction 47. Roughly 1 year later, the next player to achieve Extraction 48 was the speedrunner MW, and his 48 was quite remarkable in that he had a timer freeze of 37.98. a little bit faster than even some of the fastest ones we've seen before, indicating that runners were getting better and better at the first 3 quarters of the level, slowly trimming down the much needed frames for 47. In February 2021, another very interesting extraction 48 was achieved by the runner who now goes by Alluring Fairy. You see, this rising star speedrunner actually missed a B press to open a door right here, costing a significant amount of time. As a result, his timer freezes at 38.86 seconds. This is incredibly slow for a 48, but because his ending is so insane, so crisp, he actually finishes at 48.93 seconds, just like MW. And that's despite having a timer freeze almost a second slower. This means that in the final 10 seconds of the stage, Alluring Fairy gained 0.88 seconds over MW. Now that is truly insane. And so what this all seems to suggest is that if you played the ending just as well as Alluring Fairy in 10.07 seconds, all you would need is a 37.92 second freeze in order to get 47 seconds as your end time. Well, not quite, because a 47.99 would round up to 48, and it's probably not even possible to get those digits displayed in the in-game timer. But say if you wanted a 47.93 to be safe, then with the Alluring Fairy speed ending, you're just needing a 37.86 freeze for a chance, and considering MW had a 37.98 freeze, we're beginning to get awfully close. But of course, the run of destiny would occur when Perfect Ace came around to playing the stage. Ace was the second player to tie the time back when 49 was the old world record, and he was the third player to achieve 48 seconds as the world record, which he did in 2015. Ace already had a very decent 2021 in Perfect Dark, setting 4 untied world records into November, and then pulled off this truly remarkable speedrun, a 37.68 timer freeze, one of the very best ever, with a 10.13 ending, again, one of the very best ever, for a time of 47.81 seconds. A truly amazing untied world record. The comments on his video show just what people think of this unbelievable score, and indeed, with all that, a notable side note in history. Not one single record set in the 2000 aughts in either Perfect Dark nor GoldenEye still stands to this day. Ace's Extraction 47 was the final slay of them all. The now oldest standing world record in all of Perfect Dark is Illu's Defection Agent 5 seconds, which is, as certainly maxed as one record could possibly be in a game like this. It was set in November 2010, and it will likely last forever. And well, if that wasn't all enough, this also established a brand new untied sweep for Ace, as he was already holding untied world records on Extraction Special and Perfect Agent, the other 2 difficulties. And so you'd think all of this stuff, all these historic markers and grand achievements, would be adequate. And for mere mortals, perhaps it would be. But not Ace. Ace decided there was still some time left on his Special Agent record in Untied 116 to be chopped off. And so he got to doing just that. With relative ease, on November 10th, he cut off 1 more second for a 115. Now, in a previous video, we established that new nomenclature, that untying a world record you already had untied would be called a super untied. And super it was. Extraction Special Agent is a stage where you can almost always go a little bit more YOLO. You have to eliminate these extra bodyguards on other floors of the Lucerne Tower, and that can always be done a little more insane, with a little more YOLO headshots. I mean, just check out this insane unbuffered double shotgun blast headshot on these 2 guards. If you miss this, the run is over. It's just astonishing gameplay. It's Special Agent, more stuff to do, so he has a 101.50 timer freeze, and then on Special Agent you need to shoot a rocket launcher at the helicopter to end the stage, which Ace does and gets a 114.95, which rounds up to 115. So, still an untied, still a super untied in fact, but this roundup left a bit of a salty taste, to be sure. So, what do you think happens next? Of course, Ace would, over the course of the next month, attempt to untie the super untied, hence going for what he's dubbed in ultra untied. All he would need is a run probably 1 frame faster to avoid the end timer from rounding up and solidifying a 114. It took him a few weeks of attempts, but when you're this good, it's simply a matter of time. I mean, once again, look at the double shotgun blast headshots right here. It's unbelievable. He gets a 101.10 timer freeze, so 0.40 seconds faster than his 115. Plenty of room left to play a touch safer than his 115 ending. Nails the rocket shot, bingo bango baby, 114.68. The ultra untied. Just business as usual for Perfect Ace, the greatest Perfect Arc speedrunner of all time, as he continues to leave others in his wake. What's next for Perfect Ace? Who knows, but it's likely to be truly amazing and utterly remarkable. So there's the story of Ace beating Perfect Arc's oldest standing world record and the final one of the game's records from the 2000 aughts, and how Ace followed that up by achieving another super untied and then in ultra untied. I hope you enjoyed this story. Thanks for watching, stay true, and I'll see you in the next stream or video.